Today's video is going to be great for anybody who wants to start their own home lab or maybe expand their existing home lab but doesn't want to spend any money. We're going to take a look at Oracle VirtualBox and learn how to spin up our very own virtual server within our Windows environment. It's going to be very easy to do. I'll walk you step by step through it, and I'll even show you how to have it boot up automatically every time you boot your Windows machine. So if this sounds like something that's useful to you, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, we'll start the project out by downloading the files that we need from the VirtualBox website. Go ahead and click on download and then select based on the package you have. I have Windows, so I'm going to download that one, and that's what we're going to be doing this project on. You'll also want to download the extensions pack, so go ahead and click on accept and download for that. That way you can do things like connect USB ports to your virtual machine. So we'll go ahead and download both of those, and then once they're downloaded, click on the VirtualBox install, run through the install. I figure you know how to do that, so we'll meet you as soon as you're done with your install and continue on to build out your first virtual machine. Okay, once you get VirtualBox installed, you'll be met with a window similar to this. We're going to go in and install those extensions so that you can do things like add the USB items to your virtual machine. Click on the little icon here, go to extensions, install, browse to wherever you downloaded the extensions package, hit open, and then hit install. It's going to ask you to review the license terms again, just like you had on the website. Go ahead and scroll down, hit agree, and it'll install that for you and go ahead and tell you that everything's set. Now we're going to do a couple other changes. The first thing we're going to do is go up to preferences and go down to your display. Go ahead and set this to 200%. This isn't required, but the first time you set up a virtual machine, you'll notice that it's a really small window. So this way it'll make it a little bit bigger so you can actually read things. So let's go ahead and create our first virtual machine. We'll go to new, and we're going to call this Ubuntu 24.04. Now I went ahead and downloaded the ISO image for this. You can go ahead and go out to Ubuntu or wherever you want and download the ISO image. So we'll select that. It's still in my downloads folder. It's a Linux distribution, so I won't change any of these items down here. I'm going to skip the unattended upgrades because sometimes, or unintended installation, because sometimes that doesn't work very well on that install. For hardware, we're going to select, I'm just going to leave it at 2 gigs of memory. I'm going to bump it up to 2 CPUs. And then down here, the hard drive, I'm going to set this to a 32 gig hard drive. You can set it to whatever makes sense for you. But then I would recommend not checking this pre-allocate full size, because what that's going to do is it's going to immediately basically block off 32 gigs. If you set it to not pre-allocate, it'll just give you whatever size you need up until you fill up the full 32 gigs. So probably a better way to do it. Go ahead and hit finish. And now it's ready to go, except for one other thing we need to do. We're going to go into the settings for this and make sure you get your network card set up correctly. Click on network. Go and select bridged adapter. This will give you an IP address for the virtual machine. Select whatever the adapter is for your network card. And then down here for promiscuous mode, you want to say allow all. That'll allow you to do things like SSH into the machine, things you'll need to do. And that's pretty much it. Now let's go ahead and start it, and we're going to go ahead and do the install. So we'll click on start, and it'll bring up a new window. You can go ahead and expand that window when it comes up. And what we'll do is we'll walk through the install. Now I'm going to go ahead and go through the install here. I won't do all the steps because it'll be boring for the video, but I will stop at one point and make sure that you do get the Open SSH server set up so that you can SSH into this virtual machine. Okay, at this point you want to make sure you toggle this to put an X in there, because you do want to install the Open SSH server. So we'll go ahead and select that, hit done, and go ahead and let it finish the rest of the install. While we're waiting for this install to complete, if you like these kind of videos and you're finding them useful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and give it a thumbs up. If you have any ideas for other videos, throw those down in the comments section below as well. There we go. Now the install is complete. We've got a few other things we need to do to make sure this virtual machine works for you when you boot up, but we can go ahead and log into it, and we can see that it's given us an IP address here of 10.0.0.153. And since you set that network mode to the promiscuous to allow all, you can do an SSH into this machine. So you've got everything up and running. However, it's not going to start whenever you start Windows. So let's take a look at how you can set it up to automatically boot this virtual machine or any virtual machines that you have every time you boot into Windows. Okay, you've got your virtual machine up and running, but now we need to make sure that this thing boots every time your Windows machine boots. even if you don't log in. So to do that, we need to get a couple of things. The first thing we need to do is to use our command prompt, and we're going to issue the following command. This tells the VirtualBox manage executable file to list all the virtual machines running on your computer right now. So if we run that, we'll see that we have Ubuntu 22.04, which is what we named it. And we have this UUID right here. This is the ID we're going to use to actually start the computer or start the virtual machine every time our computer reboots. So to do that, we're going to open up scheduled tasks, our task scheduler. You just have to go to your start menu and type in task scheduler, and it'll open this up. And it looks a little bit overwhelming, but it's really actually pretty easy. We'll go up here to the create task, which is going to be the one that we want to do. We're going to call this start VMs. So this will be able to be set up to start any of the virtual machines that you have. We're going to say run it whether the user is logged in or not. So again, whether you log in or not, this virtual machine is going to start up. We'll hit triggers, and the trigger for this is going to be at startup. So whenever this machine again starts up, it's going to boot into this virtual machine, or it'll start the virtual machine. The actions, this is where we put in a long command. I'll have this command down in the description below, but basically it goes out there and it looks at the VirtualBox manager executable, and then it puts a few commands at the end of it. So if we look at it, it's running this VBox manage executable again, just like we did before to get the virtual machines, but it adds these following arguments to it. Start this virtual machine here, that's that ID that we just found, and we want it to be headless, meaning that it's not going to actually boot up with a monitor or any sort of visual anything within this Windows machine. So we'll say yes to that. We'll say okay. And now you're going to have to put in your password for the admin account on the machine, and that way it'll go ahead and start whether you're logged in or not. Okay, so there we go. We've got the command right here at the bottom that's going to do it every time we reboot the machine. I'm going to actually minimize it, and we've got it highlighted here. And if we look, we've actually got our machine here up and running. So I'm going to say sudo shut down now. Put in my password. And it's going to go ahead and shut down. So now the machine is shut down. If you look here, it says powered off. So anytime we reboot, it's going to run this command here. Now you can add multiple commands for multiple virtual machines, but right now we're going to go ahead and test it out. We're going to hit run. So imagine that we just rebooted the machine. And if you look over here, it's starting. It's automatically booting up. So this will happen in the background every time you boot up your machine. If you look here in the little preview, you can see it going by. We can actually show it by clicking on the icon here, kind of expanding it. So now you have it booting in, and it'll do this every time that you reboot your computer. And there you go. Now you're well on your way to building out your very own home lab, or maybe adding some cool functionality to your existing home lab. Either way, if you like this video and you found it useful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, give it a thumbs up, and check out some of my other videos for some great things you can use these virtual servers for. And I'll see you in the next video.